I just did a great interview with Alephium team. There is a lot of inside information, roadmap, tokenomics, maybe price prediction. There we can find out what's coming next, any partnership, what kind of hot partnership they did in the last few months time. Watch all the interview to the end. Let me know down in the comment section what do you think about this project, and also if you have any question, put them down in the comment section. Enjoy the interview.
Welcome everybody, and I'm honored to have one of the great Alephium team member, and we're going to do a great interview today. We're going to ask her many questions. So if you are one of the investors of Alephium, or if you think ever to get into Alephium, maybe this video is going to help you. And again, if you have any question after the interview, ask me down in the description under the video, in the comment section, and I'm going to come back to you with all the answers. So on the other side, we have Maud here today. So Maud, who you are, what do you do for Alephium, and let's start with that.
Yeah, so my name is Maud, and for Alephium, I'm responsible for operation, which in our case basically includes pretty much everything except development. Like I can't code, but I have my hands on pretty much everything else. And I've been with Alephium since before mainnet. In May 2021 is when I joined the team.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Now, for the people who are extremely new, what is Alephium in the very short description?
If I make it like very, very short, basically Alephium is a next generation proof of work blockchain for tokens, smart contract, and decentralized application. So that is kind of like the very short summary. If you want me to dive a bit deeper, I would be very happy to.
Well, many people compare Alephium as an next Kaspa. So anything you want to maybe share, like inside information, why people saying like, why is the next Kaspa? Why is they comparing with the next Kaspa? So if you want, you can share like more inside information.
Yeah, of course. So I think the reason we're often grouped with Kaspa is both of us are kind of the newer proof of work blockchain, kind of this cycle. We actually launched, or mainnet actually launched one day from each other. And where we have kind of a, I think where we differentiate ourselves is that Kaspa primary, or at least original goal, was to be really a better peer-to-peer system, right? Like really focusing on this, and they've made you know, a lot of design choices and technological choices to advance that use case. On Alephium side, our main driver was really to be a better platform for smart contract and decentralized applications. So we've also made a lot of choices around this. And so I think kind of this is kind of a big difference, is that our primary focus is really around being a smart contract platform, and Kaspa primary focus is around being a peer-to-peer kind of more payment system. Again, primary use cases, and we have slightly different approach, but both of us chose to innovate within the proof of work ecosystem. Both of us actually launched around the same time, and I think both of us have incredible tech and a great community, and Kaspa is really a incredibly inspiring project. So it is very, let's say, sorry, it's like I'm losing my words, but it's very humbling. Sorry, that's the word I was looking for, to be, you know, put into the same box as Kaspa. And yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yes, indeed. Yes, thank you for that. I didn't know you're basically launched on pretty much the same time, you know. That's crazy.
1 day difference. 1 day difference. I think
wow.
They launched 1 day before us. So actually our mainnet anniversaries are just one after the other.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so now I did ask one of my members, actually few members, I put a question like, what do you want me to ask you? And of course, there are like 20-30 questions. Everybody has the same. When big exchange listing? I say, oh my God. I say, oh, okay. So that's one of the main questions from the people. And of course, they ask for like, what's cooking behind the scenes. Of course, if you can share anything, what's building. I know like Alphpath, it's been on Rocket. I know it's not connected with Alephium a lot, but they coming with a lot of project for the last year. They raised a lot of money. I was doing some video for them a few days ago, and I was very surprised because the ecosystem is growing up. You know, to compare it, it's only 124 million market cap. What I think is so undervalued. This should be at least like 2 billion. Again, not financial advice, by the way. That's my personal opinion. So anything you want to mention for any listing? What's cooking behind the scenes? What you're building?
Yeah, I mean, so I start with the listing because rightfully you say this is something that people ask. I mean, we are constantly working on listing. Obviously, our objective is to get a what you call kind of a tier 1 listing, but those are the most challenging one to get, especially if you're a layer 1. Because as a layer 1, it means the exchange needs to integrate your chain, and they need to maintain this integration. So there is a cost for them, both in time and effort, and then in maintenance. And so typically this takes longer to convince an exchange to let you pay to get listed when there's work on their end. And so this is something we're constantly working on. I mean, you see this also with Kaspa, right? Kaspa was in the top 30 for years before they could get a tier 1 listing, and just now they got Kraken. And so it takes time, you know. It takes time, and we're working on it. I hope that 2025 is the year where the tier 1 exchange domino fall. But right now there's nothing like I could share, like say, hey, that listing is secured, or in any case, even when a listing is secure, we're not allowed to announce it before the exchange does. But what I can say is we're working really hard on it, and pretty much every day we're pushing something, having conversation, and whispering Alephium's names in their ears. And then you were talking about the ecosystem, and I think you rightfully pointed out that for the last year and a half, it has really exploded. Today, Alephium has the largest TVL of all proof of work chain after Bitcoin. And our ecosystem, what it has exploded, it's still very young. It's also very organic, like we're not backed by big VCs or things like this. So it's very organic for the ecosystem to develop like this. We have really pretty much everything that you would want into an ecosystem, everything you want for DeFi, a little bit of gaming. We just announced a huge RWA refi project with big actors in the sustainability and net zero transition space. I mean, I can go a little bit more into details. I just have a tendency, to talk nonstop, and then, the entire thing will be gone, and you won't have asked me any more questions. But yeah, so I will stop.
Tell me more. Feel free to say a few words for the project you see, RWA, because that's also it's a huge thing now for 2025. We have AI and RWA and of course meme tokens. But anything you want to mention about that project? Is it out? Like when it's coming and all that stuff?
Yeah, of course. We've announced it in December during the Abu Dhabi Finance Week and Bitcoin MENA. So this is the global company of a actually UK-based company called GridServe. So GridServe, maybe you've seen, they have the largest network of electric charging station for electric vehicle in the UK on the highway. They also actually have solar farm, and they basically have an entire net zero charging infrastructure for electric vehicle. And in December, they launched their global entity that is headquartered in Abu Dhabi, that is called Gigaton. And basically, this will be the entity that drives all of their international and global activities. And they have chosen Alephium as the blockchain backbone to tokenize basically the entire value chain that they bring. So from tokenizing funds that would invest into infrastructure, tokenizing that infrastructure, and then tokenizing the output of this infrastructure, which is carbon credits. And so they've already announced a project that is similar to what they've done in the UK in Australia. So deploying a network of charging station for electric vehicle, as well as solar farm in Australia. They've also announced actually a mining related project, which in partnership with a company called Erst, where basically they combine their solar panel knowledge with a mining container, and that allows you to be able to deploy kind of off-grid container, like for example in the middle of the desert, because you don't need to connect to existing grid with solar panel, and to basically mine green coins, so Bitcoin or any mineable coin. And it will also generate additional income for the miners, because those infrastructure will also be generating carbon credits. And in the sustainability industry, carbon credit is a huge market. I mean, broadly speaking, it's going to be a huge market. And Alephium basically is going to be the tokenization platform for that entire ecosystem. So it's pretty big. It will take, obviously, this is things that will roll out throughout the coming years. They will also announce more partnerships. So it's pretty exciting, because they're also very supported by the UAE government, which invests heavily in that kind of infrastructure as well. So it's pretty exciting to have, that one of our first RWA project is something of this size. But we also have,
Go ahead, sorry.
And I was going to say, we also have like a lot of exciting stuff happening on the DeFi side. I saw like when we were talking, you were scrolling through, I think it was Twitter, where there was stuff about aleph banks being one of the most anticipated DeFi project with over-collateralized stablecoin lending that is on testnet right now. I think I was a bit disconnected during my holidays, but I believe they launched a testnet between Christmas and New Year. And so this is pretty exciting. Like, I think this is one of the most anticipated projects. They've done, I think, the most successful launch on Alphpad, which is the main Alephium launchpad. I think they had the biggest one ever.
Yeah, I think they raised 300,000 Alephium, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. Yeah, and yeah. I think that was that. And before that, there was also a lot of successful launch as well. Alephium, which is a V DEX that launched also before. They captured most of the chain TVL pretty rapidly. Like, there's really a lot happening. Like, we also have Links Lab that is aiming to be kind of the one-stop shop for all of the Alephium ecosystem, and they have in their roadmap a credit card as well. So pretty exciting. They've done really great work. You also have MineFi, which is kind of liquid staking model applied to mining, so kind of liquid mining, which is also really interesting. There's a lot of tools, AI-related tools to help builders on Alephium, Ralph builders, Grumpy AI. There's really a lot of things, and probably there's so much more. I was off for like kind of 2 weeks for the holiday. So, and I just turned back my computer for this interview. So I don't know, I'm sure I missed so many things when I was gone. And again, the few I mentioned here are, just a small sample of everything that is happening into the ecosystem. And we have so much more. We also have a grant program. And so we are having more and more application of project coming into Alephium. So I think 2025 is going to be a very interesting year for the entire ecosystem.
Yeah, I do agree. I think that's why I like the things we'll share here. It's one of the reasons why I want to bring you, or when I do interview with some of the teams, because when you listen some YouTubers, they can just say just the basic stuff, what's Alephium, price predictions and all that stuff. That's what the people like to hear, like the next 1000x. But basically, if you go and chat like I'm chatting with you now, we can find out that what is the team and the project is doing behind the scenes. It's not just, oh, this is the best, so why? Like, you've been building for years. Now, like you say, you have RWA here with UK, because I'm in UK with the project from UK who are everywhere. You doing somebody with Dubai. You have the next like a stable, a project who's coming, the stable token over there who raised like a lot of money. So you're working behind the scenes a lot. So that is great to know, because it's not something, a project who's going to pump and dump. We talk about something sustainable. We're trying to change something in the crypto world. And I'm very for DeFi. I'm a DeFi guy. I'm yield farming and all that stuff. So Alephium in my next on the list, like when all this kick off, so I can crack on and do finding that golden yield farming. So my next, go ahead.
Just to bounce off what you said before you move to the next one. Actually, I'm a bit too busy with work to really explore and do yield farming. But what I've heard is Alephium being a young ecosystem, but with access to the main stablecoin or DeFi ecosystem, while small, is actually very interesting if you're dual yield farming. I think our DEXs are offering pretty interesting yield for liquidity providers. And I also do want to mention, like, pretty much all of what we discussed up until now, this was actually our ecosystem building. This is not even, we can talk after about what's coming up on the Alephium roadmap, but actually what we talked about up until now, it's mainly other people in our ecosystem who've built all of those amazing things on Alephium.
Yep. Let me just mention to everybody now, you can also use a ledger and stake your Alephium. I think hold your Alephium there, which is very straightforward. Because you can integrate with Ledger and one key. and I did use, you just, everybody could use a ledger, just download the Alephium app from a Ledger Live and just open their wallet here and just send them, or just send them directly to your ledger and just keep them safe if you want to hold them. One of the best way for everybody who don't know where you can buy, you can see here pretty much on many exchanges like Gate.io. We cannot use any more Gate in UK, sadly, but Maxi, even you can just go and buy on Dexam like Uniswap on Ethereum chain. It's very straightforward. Or use I'm sorry?
Yeah, we just launched so we are available on Uniswap because we have a bridge to Ethereum. So you're able to bridge Alephium back and forth between the Alephium chain and Ethereum. And just in November, we launched a bridge to Binance Smart Chain. So you actually also can buy Alephium on PancakeSwap as well. You can see them in your screen. But otherwise, as you were about to say, we also have several DEXs on Alephium with pretty decent liquidity if you want to buy directly on DEXs on Alephium.
Yeah, I think one of the main one is this one, AYIN, correct?
IN. Yeah, that was actually the first third-party decentralized application that was launched on Alephium in summer 2023. This is the main Alephium DEX, like kind of the main as in the first one. They recently launched a lot of different features. So they were the first to have concentrated liquidity on mainnet. So they have concentrated liquidity on mainnet. They have now launched something that is not really, that allows you to bribe pools or incentivize more liquidity pool, like add a reward to existing pool to incentivize liquidity provider with any token. So they're also doing a lot of work because I think their vision is really to have kind of the most successful models of DEXs into one places. So you have like the classic V2, the concentrated liquidity, additional like kind of bribing mechanism to further incentivize liquidity provider, smart router. Like they're really working to again bring the best of DeFi into one platform as well.
I just find my next pool, Alephium with Ethereum, 656% APR. That is crazy. I need to check this out definitely after the interview. 24-hour volume at 860,000. That will be, yep. TVL for, okay, great. Sorry, out of the topic here, but that's for my that's for me for later on.
I don't know much about DeFi yield. I think again right now because Alephium has for its size a pretty decent amount of liquidity and TVL on chain, but the ecosystem is still relatively small. You will have a lot of opportunity like this, and probably as Alephium grows, I'm sure those yields will sadly lower a little bit. But
yeah, of course, now is the time.
Not my area of expertise.
Okay, so thank you for that. Now, let me ask you now the next big question, like what's the next on the roadmap? You mentioned earlier you have a lot of things, so go ahead and explain like what's coming next. Can the developers just come and build over there? Are you getting new recruitment? like do you open hands, most layer ones, what they're doing, like come 2 hours and build up? So go ahead.
Yeah. So just to be clear, everyone is welcome to build on Alephium, and they've been welcome to come build on Alephium for a while now. We have a grant program to support new builders and to bring project into the ecosystem. But if we now go into the roadmap, so you mentioned before that the big things that happened before I go into what comes next is obviously the integration with Ledger, One Key. We also had SafeVal and sorry, I don't know how to say this in English. It comes to me in French. Tangem, which is also a hardware wallet. Tangem, yeah. They're doing the integration right now. So there was a big push around hardware wallets earlier in 2024. We've also, again, as I mentioned, launched the bridge to BSC to improve, to increase our chain interoperability with other ecosystem. We've also announced this partnership with this big RWA project. A lot of things coming and blooming into the ecosystem, but what's coming next? So for us, like for the team, we focus mainly on improving and evolving the Alephium core protocol, so the blockchain itself. And the next network upgrade will bring really a lot of exciting things for the ecosystem. So we will reduce block time further. So at the launch of Alephium, the block time was 64 seconds. We reduced it to 16 with the previous network upgrade. And now we're looking to reduce it further, probably by half. So 8-second block time, which for a proof of work blockchain with smart contracts on a layer one, that's pretty decent block time. More importantly, we haven't touched too much into the technology details, but if you're familiar with Alephium, you know that we have something called groups, because we are what it's called a sharded network. So we have multiple chain running into Alephium, and you can have addresses into specific groups. And when you interact with smart contract, the address that you use to interact needs to be in the same group as the smart contract. It can be, if you're someone who is used to single chain network, it can be a bit confusing, even though we've done a lot of abstraction in the wallet to really make it not that overwhelming if you're a new user, but it remains something a bit different. And with this next network upgrade, we will introduce something called a groupless addresses. So you basically, from the user perspective, you will completely abstract the multiple chain and the multiple groups for the users, because you will have a single address that works on every group, and effectively from the user standpoint, having a single chain experience in a network that is actually multiple chain, because that is kind of our scalability solution, which allows Alephium to process well over 10,000 TPS natively, again, as a proof of work layer 1. So this one, for people within our ecosystem, this is a pretty big change in user experience. We will also introduce passkeys. So basically, passkeys allow you to generate wallet without a seed. If you know, like if you've been in crypto, you know that one of the most overwhelming thing if you start into crypto is your seed phrase that is associated with your wallet. You don't know how to save it properly. Like it's a whole nightmare. And basically, passkey allow you to create wallet without needing that seed, because a passkey acts as your seed basically. And so we'll be introducing this, which is a much user-friendly way to generate wallet for users into crypto and manage wallets. We'll also start working on smart contract wallets, where you can then have multi-signature wallets with similar features, for example, as Safe, which is one of the, I think it is the most used Ethereum application ever, like the Safe wallet. So bringing a lot of cool things into the network to make it even more user-friendly, developer-friendly. So pretty exciting things coming to the network. And I do want to mention that we are organizing our first in-person hackathon as part of an event taking place in France. That would be the first place I mention it, because we haven't fully announced it yet. But for the first weekend of February, so I think it's the 31st of January. Yeah, no, it's this. Yes, exactly. The 1 and 2 of February. We will be having an in-person hackathon in France in one of the in an event called Cryptocurrencies. I don't know how you pronounce it actually properly, but it's CryptoXR. This is how you write it. It's the second largest French-based crypto event after.
What city? Is it Paris?
No, so it is in a city called Auxerre, which is like this, but it's actually the second biggest crypto event in France after Paris Blockchain Week. It is a little bit French oriented, so it's a lot of because I'm French, a few members of our team are either French speaking or French, so it's an ecosystem where we can engage in, let's say, the local language a lot, but it's a pretty big event in France, and it does have international component and people going there, so it's going to be our first experience as a small in-person hackathon, so it's going to be pretty exciting. Yeah.
That is great to know for everybody who are here in Europe, and also will be in English, correct? It's not going to be just in French.
Yeah, so a lot of it will be in French, but there will also be English content, and the hackathon itself, or core developers actually don't speak French, so most the entire content and interaction with devs and support will be in English. Yeah.
Okay, so that will be the first week in February, and that's in exactly a month from now when we're doing this video. So when I post this video, will be like just a little bit less than a month. Okay, I think that's a lot we covered today. I don't have any more questions, to be honest. I'm happy because I don't like to keep my interview like more than like 30 minutes because people don't like to watch long videos, but including me. I need to watch them in like 1.5 speed so I can like speed up because we live in so crazy world.
Yeah,
let me ask you,
instant notification kind of world.
Yes, so. Yeah, I do agree. Let me ask you a last question. Just your, it's like a personal question. what is your like? Do you have any like? I don't ask you for price prediction for Alephium because I know you're not allowed to mention. My price prediction, if you ask me, probably will be like from the top, like 3x, 4x from the top for this bull market. I hope will be over 1 billion here. That's me. That's like good. You know, like 10x from now, I'll be so happy. Now, also, by the way, if anybody don't know, I'm mining Alephium. You can go and mine. I have some miners there. There we go. I'm earning every day like 1.3, 1.3. You know, Alephium 1.2. Thank you so much for the miners. You know, I'm just putting safe on the wallet. Just keep them nice and steady and just enjoy. Now, what is your price prediction for, by the way, for Bitcoin? What do you think? I'm not sure if you're allowed to say anything.
I mean, honestly, I don't. This is definitely, I don't know. You know, there was a time where people did not believe Bitcoin would go over 100K. People were saying Bitcoin would go over 100K were delusional, and look at where we are. So it's difficult to know. I think, you know, just the entire space that we're in, we're still so early, and people don't necessarily realize this, because usually you're able to invest in project, like let's say in the traditional world, when as an individual you're able to participate in projects. You do this at a much later stage of the technology. We're so early in the blockchain and crypto space when it comes both from technological development but also adoption. It is still very niche if you take in the broader, you know, if we go out of our crypto bubble. So honestly, it's very difficult to say, but from an adoption perspective, Bitcoin and crypto in general has a long way to go. So I'm expecting we can see a lot of positive movement when it comes to adoption in the coming years, because we're still pretty far from, you know, kind of a mainstream usage.
Okay, last question, I swear. Last question. Thank you for that. I do agree. We are so early. I was listening an interview today. In the last actually few days, I'm listening a lot of podcasts and interviews, and the guy says, if Donald Trump put as Bitcoin as a reserve, this will follow as many countries already doing that behind the scenes. Just imagine if he put that and he said, okay, we need to buy 200 Bitcoins now. And then like, what's next? Like, when is the sky? I know it will be up and will be down. And of course the market falls and everything. But overall, I think the trajectory is just moving up. Of course, if we don't have this quantum physics and all that stuff, wherever it's coming, I don't even know. So let me ask you something. Actually, a few people ask me on some of my, I did a video here, just, let me see. I did a video here. If anybody watch this video, Alephium, how high can go, it's, you know, just my price prediction there and few information. And few members ask me, oh, but what about all that inflation and all that stuff? You don't take that in content. Can you please mention anything about the circulation supply to the max supply and all that stuff, because people don't realize it's not a token unlock tomorrow 100% of the tokens. It's something what's coming. It's a different way. If you can just touch on that for a couple of minutes, please.
Yeah, of course, I'll talk to the tokenomics. So Alephium is a proof of work chain, so it means the majority of its supply is basically being mined, and then there's the emission time frame. So you see a lot of coin, even Bitcoin has a pretty rapid emission schedule where the majority of the supply is mined very quickly. Kaspa is another example where after 4 years, a huge percentage of the supply has been mined. I don't exactly know, but I want to say they're definitely above 75% of the supply. I want to say they're almost above 90% of the supply of being issued, but I'm honestly not 100% sure. But yeah, it looks okay. It looks like I'm right that we would be around 90% of the supply having been mined already. And soon all of the Kaspa that are to exist will exist. So Alephium emission schedule is very different. It's much more long-term. So as of today, there is around 20% of the supply that exists and 80% that still needs to be mined, and it will be mined over 80 years. And so it's a much more, let's say, steady emission rather than huge emission in the beginning and then tail emission for, you know, several years.
So let me repeat that. Will be mined over the next 80 with 0 years.
80 years. So it's really a long emission. We're looking at a very long emission schedule. Just to give you back into the tokenomics. So at the launch of Alephium, we minted with the Genesis block 14% of the supply, partially for sales, partially for treasury, and then for the ecosystem. So out of the 20-ish, wait, let me see, how much total supply? Yeah, we have around 20% of the supply today. 14 of that was minted at the Genesis block, which means 6%, only 6% of the supply of Alephium was mined in those 4 years. And there's still 80% of our supply that needs to be mined over the next 80 years. So it's a much more steady. And that explains, you know, the big difference that you see is that in order also to be more stable for miners, Because there's a lot of question about what will happen to miners when Bitcoin stop being mined and they're only on the transaction fee. There's also people asking the same question on Kaspa. What happens once you don't have the block reward anymore and you only have the transaction fee? So the tokenomics choice of Alephium was to have, again, a much more stable and long-term emission of the supply. So yeah, so this explains kind of the big difference in numbers. And then just I want to touch on the circulating supply, because if you look from the circulating to the total supply, around half of the so circulating is what is in circulation, total supply is the number of coin that exists today, and then maximum supply is the number of coin that can ever be created, basically. And the difference between the circulating and the total supply is when you register on CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko, they enforce calculation mechanism, like rules on how you're supposed to calculate. And in the circulating supply, you are supposed to exclude all of the team wallets. So all of the, but we're talking here about treasury wallets and an individual team member wallet as well. You're also supposed to remove all of the wallets from any pre-sale or private sale participant. And so that explains the big gap, is that it's not that those coins are locked. Obviously, locked coin are excluded from the circulating supply, but it's also that they ask you to remove from the circulating supply wallets, entire wallets. And there's a CoinMarketCap has a section about why they do this. If you're interested into this, it's also linked into our FAQ, because this is tokenomics question comes often.
Okay.
I hope that answered. I think I touched on what people typically ask us around the tokenomics. I hope I answered. Also,
yeah. Look, it's basically, in the nutshell, I do understand that there's not going to be token unlock in the next 1-2 years. All of them will be like very small, gradually over the next 80 years. So we talk about. Do you know roughly like how many percentage per year it's coming in the next, let's say in the next year or 2 years? Do you know?
I don't know. What you can say is that 6% was mined over 4 years, and less Alephium are mined each day. So you can say that less than 6% will be mined over the next 4 years.
Yeah, I think it makes sense, because if it's all mined, the rest of, like you say, 80% in 80 years, we talk about around simple 1% a year for the next 8 years. Simple.
That would be if the emission is so it is not linear. It is a little bit, it decreases over time. So it will be between 6 and 1%. Basically between 6 and 0% every 4 years.
Okay, that's nothing. That's like, if you divide that, that's like even less than 1.5% a year. That's like nothing.
Yes.
Okay. So we can, if I buy now for 100 million, I'll bring the price up.
Well, if you have 100 million, you do as you wish with your money.
Hey, don't be here. You know what they say. All right.
It could be your passion project to interview. Even if you make it, you might still, want a little bit of side hobbies.
Yeah, side hustle. I guess that's about it. Thank you. I will say a huge thank you. If anybody has a question, please go to their social media and ask any question you have. Make sure you do not answer to any DMs. The team will never send you any DMs. Just only speak in the main chat, or just put the question down in the description, and I will ask Mate, or she will come and answer to you as a comment under the YouTube if needed. Again, thank you so much for your time. I'm more than happy to catch up again in the next few months' time. We can crack on and do some new update video, like what's already pop up in the, let's say, in March or April, like what's happened by then. Maybe we see Bitcoin crazy 200,000 by then, and Alephium $10, and we're all celebrating here. Again, thank you so much for your time. You've been absolutely amazing with your answers. I will post the video in the next coming days. Anything else you want to mention before I wrap up?
Again, if you're new to Alephium, definitely also check out the ecosystem. I was only able to mention a few projects because if I start naming them all, that will take the whole video. But in addition to Alephium being an amazing project, I think the project that are building on top of Alephium are amazing just into their own right. There's something for everyone. So definitely spend some time to check out the ecosystem as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much. God bless everybody, and I will see you guys in the next video.